Well, this is going to be an interesting one, Peter. And this is kind of our summer sizzler, isn't it? Because this is going to be the highest profile fight we have this summer because of the circumstances that have happened and boxing just coming back in the UK. And then Eddie Hearn starts his fight camp on the 1st of August. And the fourth week, the fourth instalment of that fight camp is the pay-per-view card headed up by Povetkin against Whyte. It's going to be third time lucky for these guys as well. This fight has been scheduled before twice and has been cancelled due to COVID and moved back. So now it looks like it's really going to happen in the Matchroom Garden. And it is a real crossroads clash, I think, for both guys. You know, Whyte's been in that perennial, it seems, #1 contender spot, and he just can't break into the top three. You know, and it's a very difficult situation for him because obviously Joshua Wilder Fury are busy fighting each other, and he's knocking on the door, and he has to take these dangerous fights to prove that he's, you know, still in contention and still that contender. But Povetkin is a dangerous fight. I think the bookies have got this a little bit wrong. They're leaning very heavily towards Whyte. Now, I would lean slightly towards Whyte, but I'd still think Povetkin's a very live opponent. I mean, if you dissect their records a bit, you know, obviously Whyte is 27-1. He's got that one stoppage loss, KO in the 7th round to Joshua. That was obviously back in 2015. And then if you look at Povetkin, 35-2 with one draw. So the two losses were Klitschko in 2013 and Joshua echoing Whyte's victory with a KO in the 7th in 2018. So, you know, the records are very similar, but you could also say, you know, there's always the old phrase in boxing, you're only as good as your last fight. Now, they both fought out in Saudi Arabia when Joshua had that redemption against Ruiz. And Whyte looked out of condition. He didn't look, you know, he weighed in very heavy, and he laboured to a unanimous points win over Maurice Watt. Now, he's subsequently, in the last week, split with his trainer, Mark Tibbs. And, you know, so we're not really sure of his training arrangements at the moment. Apparently, he's training out in Portugal. But obviously, that's a little bit concerning going into a fight of this magnitude, although, you know, Whyte has moved around with trainers a bit during his career. Povetkin, incidentally, also fought Watt back in 2015, Marius Watt, and he scored a KO in the 12th round. So that's the kind of yardstick against their common opponents. But again, Povetkin in his last fight struggled with Hunter. You know, he struggled to a draw, which, to be honest, I made Hunter a winner in that fight. And I think even, you know, Povetkin looked like he was surprised when it was given as a draw. So, you know, but the question mark is, was that fight because of Hunter's style? Was it just, he was just a bit elusive for Povetkin, you know, and don't forget, people have gone into fight Povetkin before thinking they're going to win, like thinking he's over the hill. Think Hughie Fury, think David Price, and that didn't work out for them at all. So, you know, he's still a very dangerous opponent. The question really is over that last performance, is Whyte going to come in shape? Because if he doesn't, he's in trouble. Is he going to be seriously motivated by Povetkin? And, you know, can Povetkin still pull the trigger, you know, for 12 rounds particularly? So really what I see this being an entertaining fight, though, because, you know, Povetkin likes to come looking for you. Whyte will come looking for you as well. He boxes much better behind that jab. He's got that hellacious left hook. But at his heart, you know, Whyte likes to stand and trade, and he likes to have a war of attrition. So I see that fight panning out a little bit like this, you know, like this similar sort of pattern in a way to the Chisora fights with Whyte, where, you know, they were very entertaining fights. I think the question mark is, you know, and Evander Holyfield, I think he's had a great phrase, and I think it's going to ring very true in this fight. The real fight starts when both men get tired. So I expect Whyte to box behind the jab, coming out to start with. Povetkin circling and looking for him. And then I think when they start to get tired around the halfway stage, I think they're going to go toe to toe. They both got those incredible left hooks. That's really going to when the real fight starts. I think it's a bit of a dragged out war of attrition, a very entertaining fight. And actually, I'm going to lean on Whyte for a late stoppage. When they actually start to trade and go toe to toe, I see Whyte prevailing. And so I see that as a Whyte late stoppage. That's my prediction, Peter, for this fight. But I think it's going to be a really entertaining fight. You know, it's a great fight, and it's good to see Dillian. He is the #1 fight of the summer, and, you know, even though he can't get that title shot that he so deserves at the moment, and it's not looking good for 2021 with the big three tied up with each other, it's great to see him headlining the big show and being the big fight we're talking about in the summer.
So do you think? I think it's possible to get 3-1 on the Povetkin win. Do you think that's good value?
I think that's good value. I think, you know, if you're going to bet, you know, you probably stick your money on Povetkin. I mean, it's difficult. You know, the odds are a bit long on Whyte. If you're absolutely certain Whyte's going to win, then, you know, you stick your money down, but you have to pay out a lot to get anything back. So Povetkin is probably, you know, the bet if you want to risk it.
Okay, and we saw BT Sport put on the first behind closed doors event on Friday night, which went really well. How do you think it's going to compare the BT in studio experience with the Matchroom in the Garden experience?
I kind of think it's got to be similar. You know, Eddie will have been watching that, picking over it, working out how they can enhance their offering. How exactly they're going to do that, I don't know. It's all new territory, isn't it? But I bet they've got something up their sleeve. And I think these events are going to improve as we go along. So I am kind of expecting Eddie's Fight Camp to have a few little tricks and somehow, you know, try and enhance the atmosphere a little bit. But essentially, you know, it's the same thing. It's kind of in a studio, although it's in the Matchroom back garden, Matchroom headquarters. But I think Eddie's will be an improvement because the experience is going to improve as we get used to doing it.